That's really exciting.
That's nuts.
I want to see what it looks like.
It looks good.
It does?
Yes. Post-Orthodoxy is live now.
Oh, I'm going to look at it.
Holy crap.
Here we are. Doing the
Okay,
show.
going to mute that site.
And I'm going to share this on my page.
Yeah, okay, that's really cool.
Share now.
Wow.
Okay.
It's so exciting. Too much full screen. I don't need to do that much full screen. Okay, there we go.
Facebook page. Hey, it's not on here.
Hey, it's on Post-Orthodoxy, okay?
I know. I shared it.
Share
Here we go.
now to my friends, and then also share to my story.
Hit
Yes.
play and go big and hit mute.
Share, yes. And then that's exciting. Okay, so the wall behind us is really boring. This is here. I have some Starbucks branding. I'm going to get rid of that.
Yeah,
So
Greek that.
that's something I'm noticing. This is Montana Tech. I'm going to rotate that because we don't have a version to use their branding either.
Okay.
And I actually don't know if the sound is really good. I'm going to see. I don't even know if people can hear us, so I'm going to turn this up and see if people can hear us.
All right, see if you can give feedback.
Behind us is really boring. Oh, they can.
They can hear us?
They can. Yes.
Okay.
We have quality, baby. We have quality
audio
going out over Facebook.
And quality video.
That's amazing.
Super exciting.
Wow. And we're online on all three of our places.
Hello, folks.
Hey, everybody. There's no way for me to convey to you the amount of work that it took to get to this point. And you're probably looking at it being like, yeah, when I turned the computer audio up, there was a bad echo, but there shouldn't be a bad echo right now. Kevin, let me know when you get to the part of the story that I'm saying things.
Hey, there's 6 people watching.
That's awesome. Is there an echo right now? There should not be an echo right now. Yeah, we have to wait 7 seconds.
Kevin Prime said bad echo still.
I know that's what I was reacting to.
This is a test.
Okay. Yeah. So, wow. Oh my goodness. So much work. And you're looking at this and you're like, so much work for that piece of crap live stream?
Yeah, we haven't done our thing.
Okay. Look, this wall's going to be covered.
Set designed.
We're going to do paint.
We haven't done, I don't know if we're having an echo from the room.
Still an echo.
We still need a rug.
Okay. I think I might know what it is.
Okay, fix it.
Okay. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me.
This is our test run. We're plugging all the things in, seeing if we can do all the things.
Okay, that should have changed it.
Ainsley has worked to get the chat bot in the middle of the screen
so that we can get your feedback.
So we can get your feedback. So you can watch this show right now if you come into our room. Or if you're watching us on Facebook, or if you're watching us on Twitch, or if you're watching us on YouTube.
Right. YouTube's probably the prettiest, best quality audio, and you can do live comments there. You can do live comments on Twitch, and they all go into the middle here where we can all see them in perpetuity so that, say, if we get really famous someday and somebody wants to go back and watch this video, it is still there presently. Damn it.
It's still there.
Okay.
Hey, I can plug my headphones in and listen to the... I want to see what it sounds like.
Yeah, you can listen to it on Facebook and see what it sounds like on Facebook. Okay, guys, this is Workshop, and we appreciate you. So
thanks for playing.
I have so many programs running right now, and I wish that there was like a super easy desktop audio. Okay.
All right.
I'm just going to turn this all the way down, because it should just be off. Monitor off.
Okay.
Monitor only. It's the OBS. I'm using something called Open Broadcast Software, which is an open source software for broadcasting and creating the scene that you see right here, which is got our chat bot, and it will eventually, what we can do is we can have a quote unquote scene where we have like
it's like a split second delay.
Okay. So I'm the problem is yes. Hopefully it's going to get better in a minute. I turned something down like 7 seconds ago, so it should get better. Monitor off, monitor output, mute output.
I'm listening.
I changed another thing, so maybe that will also make it go away. Mute. I'm going to turn this down also, turn that down. So, turn that down. You should also be muted. Just put everything on mute, except
It didn't do anything different.
mute. All right, wait 7 more seconds and see if that's better. So I'm not playing. There should be no sound coming out of my desktop right now. Like, I'm...
Wait.
Did it get better?
It's working.
Okay. So we don't know which of those things I just suddenly turned down was the thing that made it work, but that's good to know. Okay.
We have no
We're going to
echo.
have a better time now. Miguel says, there.
It's amazing.
Okay. Wow. All right. I just want to show you guys. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to do a thing where I show you. I set up a little quote unquote scene where I can show you everything going on my screen. So that should show up in a minute. So I have all of these inputs right here, that I have to monitor, and, there's special sound terms for what each one means. And then also I have all of these little inputs down here that like need to be turned down or turned off or something.
I'm listening to the past. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn this off. I was still listening to our excitement of a minute ago. Hey, look at that.
Hey. And so now, I have, scene 1, scene 2, and scene 3 over here in the lower corner, the lower left corner. Scene 1 is just, we only have one camera right now. So it's us talking to you like this. We have to sometimes look at our screens and sometimes turn and talk to you while still doing the only, like, look, boop, 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 boop.
You're going to get a headset.
I'm getting a headset for myself because otherwise I have to kind of look around the microphone like this to see what's happening on the screen.
Maguette says he loves OBS for streaming.
It's kind of all roads lead to OBS.
Thanks for tuning in, Maguette.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And then I have display capture, which is for if we want to show you what we're looking at on the screen right here. So for instance, I could go to this manual, right, and be like, guys, we're going to talk about this very important information on this manual. And so I hope you'll follow along with me. Follow along with me. Is it black now?
It's black now.
Well, that's old information. What you're looking at there is like 7 seconds behind. Sorry.
Okay.
And so we can look at this. We can look at, best gaming headset. And then someone could share us a link. And then I could look at it right here. And we could all talk about what I found. Or we could listen to this really nice music that I found also, which I now know I can't play sound off of the same computer monitor that I'm running the live stream off of. I have to have a different computer to play like a video if we wanted to play a video.
You have to have a different computer than this one.
I have to have it because this audio source, it just starts looping itself.
Oh.
The stream is coming from here and into here. So it becomes, that's why we were having that looping problem. So this has to be no audio output. But then I also have this original scene number 1, which is us right there talking to you about whatever you want to talk about. Thanks for joining us. Miguette, I love you too. I hope that you're having some fun film work stuff. Dark told me you have a script you're writing.
Well, he asked if we could read a script, and we've been up to here with this, trying to get this thing going and trying to get our website launched.
You have to keep staring at. You have to.
Right.
You have to rotate so that
we have to have. We're gonna try this out.
We need to get him an 1/8-inch adapter.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
We need to get him an 1/8-inch adapter so that he can also listen to himself as a professional podcaster should.
Right.
But yeah, now that this is set up and we can theoretically stream, it's not my most favorite, beautifulist, supreme setup. But we can theoretically...
It's possible. It's happening.
It's possible. We can talk to people. We can have conversations. So yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Yeah. I'm going to be busy all this week, but I would love to read your script. I love reading scripts.
Yeah,
personally.
She keeps getting work.
I love copy editing. Yeah.
So we've been trying to set this up, trying to get our website launched so that we have our website whenever we launch season 2 of Post-Orthodoxy. And then so much of the hard work will be done. We could just come in here and flip the switch and do a show.
Yes, it's true. Well, several switches in a very particular order. But I am going to make a document so that hopefully eventually you will be able to flip all of those switches in a particular order and live stream by yourself if you want to, if I'm out of town or something like that.
It won't be as interesting, but yes.
We'll get you some really pretty guest speaker.
Yeah, so we would like to try out a Zoom meeting.
Yes, that's one of the things we really want to do is be able to have guests
from
all over.
Do you want to be our Zoom guest?
Yeah, you can be a Zoom guest. You can't do it today though because I haven't set that part up.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry. I have to build the scene and add Zoom as an input in the scene, and then actually connect Zoom, and it probably has to be on a different laptop because then we'd have the looping sound problem again. So I just need another computer right here.
Okay, we'll just get one.
I just want another Chromebook.
Let's just get another Chromebook.
I just want another Chromebook.
Yeah, we'll do one of those.
Actually, I can use my little crappy Chromebook.
It only has half a screen.
But I would
For
only
audio?
be looking at it right here.
Oh.
Like the full screen shows up when you plug it into a different monitor.
Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
That would actually honestly be it's like having a really old horse. You know, you love it. It still technically does horse things. And
you
so
just can't see half the screen.
You just find horse type jobs for it to do that don't overburden it. So like this Chromebook
Playing
is
music.
an
Yeah.
excellent operating system, very fast. I hadn't had it plugged in a couple of years, so it was completely dead. And I plugged it into the wall. It booted up and was playing YouTube for a friend of ours in like 5 seconds. I love it.
My God, Maget loves everything. He loves OBS, he loves us, and he loves Zoom.
Wow.
There's a lot of love.
I think he's just a very loving person.
There's a lot of love coming from the north.
You know, you find what you expect to find in the world, Maget. And I hope that you're finding as much love as you put out into it. So yeah, guests. We want to do guests. Like people from all over the place. We want to have several shows that we're doing every week. So like it would be nice to have a regular interview series of filmmaking and just have like a little half-hour interview every week of people doing film in the Pacific Northwest and what's going on and how the tides are turning.
Right.
You know, we could have our film commissioner on and she could give us an update on the legislation. That'd be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to start trying this stuff out.
He's run out of adjectives. Kevin Prime, come back. We fixed the sound.
Yeah, Kevin. All right, well, we're glad that we have... Okay, this is amazing.
We're doing it.
We've gotten to this point.
And we had willing guinea pigs help us fix the sound issue. So
yeah,
that's why we called it an equipment test and not a real episode.
It's not an episode.
What
it's
are we
an
gonna?
episode.
It is an episode. I have to say, after 6 months of yelling at you from across the table on our live streams, and then honestly 6 months before that during COVID times when the radio station was shut down and we were yelling across the table at each other for a cell phone live stream, like we have to start rebuilding trust with our audience that you can tune in and have good quality audio. You can hear good audio on the Sevier's videos. So
for those of you that are watching, and those of you in the future that may be watching, the way she set the chat bot up is that you can watch us from YouTube and comment on YouTube. And it goes to this, where you have the Facebook icons in the chat bot. It would also have a YouTube icon. Same thing with Twitch.
But your comments will only show up in perpetuity in the chat bot when you join us live.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They don't get retroactively added.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll be able to be fielding feedback, questions, comments from people on at least 3 different platforms.
Exciting. And basically now that I have everything set up, I can add as many platforms as we want to.
Even Twitch? No, wait, even...
I'm not sure about Instagram yet.
Instagram's tough because it would just be the chat bot that would show up because it's an up and down.
Instagram is really proprietary and forces you to only have the up and down segment from the middle of the video.
They really just want people to look at it on phones.
They really just want you to live stream from Instagram.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's the problem. Is these restream apps, much like there was this, something that will push your content to all your platforms, like a tweet deck. Tweet deck is like a place where you can go and sit down for a few hours every Monday and schedule all your tweets for the rest of the week, and also send them to Facebook and to some other platform so that you're not having to boop out your phone and do social media 5 times a day in order to stay current with your followers. And a lot of platforms have gotten really proprietary and cut off connection with things like TweetDeck because they really want you using Facebook every day. They don't want you setting up automatic Facebook posts throughout the week to keep your followers engaged. They want you on Facebook every day.
Right.
So it's Restream.io allows us to stream to as many platforms as we want to.
Is that what we're doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an independent streaming thing that is just going to Facebook. Like before, we were just live streaming.
We've been using Restream the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was using my cell phone, how I would do it is I would open up Streamlabs, which is the mobile version of OBS. A lot of people call it SLOBS, Streamlabs OBS.
Okay.
So the open broadcast software is an actual program that I run on my desktop that I had to download. SLOBS is the use it in a browser window app version. You don't have to it's an app for the phone. So I open up Streamlabs OBS, and when I hit stream on SLOBS, it could go to just Facebook, or it could go to just YouTube, or it could go to something else. But there's a custom RTMP, which in my mind I think of it as custom route map.
Yeah.
You can tell SLOBS, which is the same software that allows us to choose the widget to have the chat on the screen. I can tell SLOBS to send our video to Restream as a source in and of itself. And then Restream sneakily sends it to everywhere else. Does that make sense?
I think if you keep talking like that on Twitch, you'll gain a following of gamer boys.
Like this?
They're just going to get...
Talking like this?
No, I'm talking about the specific gamer language. I'm talking about the visual, yes.
It's me objectifying myself.
Yes.
I'm fine. That's what we got told over and over again last night when we were talking with our friends John and JR is sex sells. Like we either need to be really funny or really sexy because otherwise our content is just boring.
Yeah,
nobody wants to join long form conversations online. I hope you guys prove us differently because I think we really need to have these conversations. Are you just looking at me?
I was just looking at you do the little dance because I'm going back to the past.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how it played out.
The way that we're streaming now, as opposed to the phone streaming from an app that sends it to Restream, which sneakily sends it everywhere else. Now we have a camera.
Hello. That
goes into my ATEM Mini. So I have a high quality camera image that's being encoded by a piece of equipment. If I were trying to run the camera directly into the CPU, my CPU would get bogged down trying to do the encoding and the streaming, unless I built myself a really bitchin' gamer CPU, right? So right now, my ATEM Mini is this little black piece right here. This is my video encoder, and I can have several videos going in, and I could switch between you seeing me in dark here on the screen, or you seeing our guest sitting over there on the couch on the screen.
So that's all happening live right there. So you can see it. How do I get to see that?
Live?
How do I get to see, like I'm seeing...
I can't hear you. What are you trying to...
Hello.
What are you trying to see?
I'm watching us in the past.
Yes.
Because I'm watching on Facebook.
And you want to see us live?
Is there a way for me to watch it
I can.
in time?
We have a little bit of money left in our budget, and I can get you a little monitor.
Oh.
It'd be a little, little video monitor.
Oh, nice.
And put it right here, plugged in, and that could be a live output source for you to see exactly what's happening live, whatever the audience is actually seeing live.
That would be great. I like the chatbot in the middle because it's hiding
all of the mess and the cords.
Hiding the hot sauce and the plant that needs to be watered.
A mountain of cords over here that I haven't strapped together yet because I don't know where they're eventually going to be. Cassie Jangulis says, welcome back.
Oh, really?
Thanks, Cassie. Yeah.
Hi, Cassie.
We've been completely not being very good friends to most people in our lives because I've been doing a lot of time down here setting this up. But speaking of Cassie and Cassie's bairns,
yes,
an anonymous donor gifted us a large chunk to help build the studio with the intention that there would be dedicated work put towards children's programming. One of the most horrible things about the KBMF crew kicking us out for doing nothing wrong.
It wasn't the KBMF crew. It was specifically the station manager.
Right. All of our DJ friends didn't kick us out, but they sure didn't say anything when we did get kicked out.
Right. When the station manager and the board president acted unethically to terminate us from the station, they also terminated the only kids programming on the station.
And in Butte.
And in Butte. So
There's no local kids TV programming. There's no local kids radio programming. KXLF isn't doing local interviews with kids in Butte and figuring out what's going on with them and why do we have such a high teen suicide rate and how can we help you survive the coronavirus pandemic. I was doing that on KBMF every week with a different real kid from Butte, and Cassie's kids came on our show over and over and over again.
Yes.
And we're learning how to use the equipment in the studio and how to play a record and how to do the sound mixing themselves. And we got to check in with kids in Butte and see what was going on with them. And so our anonymous donor who has intended that we're definitely going to start. It's on my heart very heavily and very joyfully to put dedicated work towards a youth-led media network out of Sevier Studios. We have the equipment, and I want to make sure that the kids know that if they want to have a voice in their community, it's going to be available to them again.
So we're setting the studio up for us to do the Post-Orthodoxy podcast, season 2. We are looking forward to being able to use the ability of us to switch from us here to a Zoom screen so that we can bring Mokai Malope
from South Africa
back into the discussion live from South Africa and continue some of the work that we were doing with the show that preceded Post-Orthodoxy, which was Copacetic Conversations.
Yes.
We're looking forward to developing that show. We've gotten some good feedback from some folks of ours in the on the West Coast, Portland in particular, that are interested in airing our shows on community radio stations there, since the community radio station here is too afraid to.
So things that we're going to be looking, like right now, this is all free form and we're not getting paid to do it. It was really, really invigorating and reassuring when we were wrongfully kicked out of KBMF to have friends of Post-Orthodoxy raise so much money for us so quickly to put together this studio so that we can provide you guys with quality content that isn't being censored by personal interests or corporate interests. And it's going to be long-form discussions.
Or personal vendettas.
Yeah. I was just including anything that could possibly happen.
Right.
Personal vendettas and corporate interests. Messing with what you think is uncensored and meaningful news, discussions, and conversations from members of your community. But in the future, what we're hoping to create is neither Dark nor I are the sorts of people that want to have money, but I like the term currency. Because it's like a current, and we would like to conduct money from people who believe in the content that we're creating here in Sevier Studios to other people who also believe in the content we're creating here at Sevier Studios. So what we hope to have in the future is a currency flow that comes into Sevier Studios and goes out towards things like buying data cards for Mokai and other international guests to be able to join us on a live stream for a couple of hours from South Africa, which would normally be very expensive for him, to create a currency flow where people who are friends of Post-Orthodoxy and the other content we're creating in Sevier Studios contribute money for us to be able to contribute money to a local sound editor who can take these contents and turn them into an audio show that then we can send that content free of charge to other community radio stations that need content.
Correct.
And right now we just don't have the time or honestly the know-how to take 2 hours worth of content and chop it down into something that is perfect for any radio station anywhere to air.
Formatting it so we can put in the IDs at the appropriate times and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
I'm excited that we've got this thing up and running. This is the bare bones
Maybe
version.
I should get you a headset too.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll when I have my headphones, I'll be more aware of what the hell's going on.
That's very true. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to launching our website. We are going to have, what's a beta test? We're going to have a beta test of our website.
Beta testing is when you let a lot of people use the thing before you let everybody use the thing.
Okay, we're not going to have a beta test.
We're just going to put it out there.
We're going to put it out there, and then I'm going to be scrambling every day to continue filling in content.
And editing what we put up.
Right. Our website is not just for Post-Orthodoxy. It is a website that will have Ainsley's resume, my resume, my
stories about his wild life,
30 years of being in the arts, and the projects that I've worked on over those past 30 years, projects we're working on now, Post-Orthodoxy just being one of several projects we're working on, as well as my sculptural work, artwork, writing work, the book,
film
work.
singing,
Yes.
acting.
So it's going to be our professional
Like a resume,
but
also a cool place where we can continue to dump these sorts of contents and then extra content in almost a behind the scenes sense for what our hope is, speaking of that currency flow, is to have a bunch of people who just sign up to be $5 a month supporters. And then that enables us to have more one-on-one conversations with people. Maybe like, what's that thing where you get several people together for a conversation and it's kind of elite?
a salon.
Like a salon.
Yeah.
Where maybe us and a couple experts and 10 friends of the show get together for a salon evening, and we all get on a Zoom call together and discuss some meaningful topic that everybody picked. And then that experience, as well as being able to watch the conversation that came out of that experience, would be within our behind the scenes subscriber section, that sort of thing.
So the goal with the website is on the website was the result of a friend of the show who said, I want to support your show, but I need an easy way to do it. So it took us a year.
Yeah. It's taking us a year.
It took us a year to
because we're also doing other things.
Yeah, we have to live in the world. So our working goal at this point is to have the website up and running, start creating season 2 content, and provide our listening audience the opportunity to give us a $5 a month subscription.
I guess it's kind of a subscription.
Recurring, $5 a month recurring payment.
Yeah.
And our goal is to get 1,000 people.
1,000
at $5
out of
a month.
8 billion people. I feel like we can do that.
That's cheaper than a drink at the bar.
And that creates a currency flow where we can have guests from all over the world and be able to pay them to join us. And we can pay somebody to edit our audio content. We can pay somebody to edit our video content. And we can
pay ourselves. We can
pay ourselves to do this work.
To make this a full-time job,
which is
so that we can
hard
be providing
to think
this content.
About. Yeah. I really want to do this for a living. I feel like
I think we can do it
I'm
now.
a hardworking person who wants to learn and who wants to be involved with other people who are hardworking and learning. And I'd like to continue to be a hub for meaningful conversations and education with this equipment that our listening audience has helped us buy.
So aside from Post-Orthodoxy, which is one of the shows that was the raison d'etre for the studio, we want to be able to...
You have to scoot your body back a little bit so that the microphone's between you and the camera.
Okay.
There you go.
So once we have the studio up and running, the idea is to be able to let other people come in and produce their own content. Ainsley has already started the groundwork last year for a youth-led
media network.
So
because we can do whatever we want with this equipment.
The kids from high school or kids in junior high who have an idea that they want to produce something. Maybe it's a scary story show. Maybe.
And if you heard that idea, it's not your idea. So
right.
Because I know the kid whose idea that is, and it's his copyrighted idea.
So we want to do that. The idea of when I was a kid in school, the idea of like being able to do student journalism, being able to talk about things that you're passionate about.
Report on your town.
Report on your town. Report on your school. Offer up things that you feel like people your age group might want to hear. Also, I think part of the magic of the show that you were doing with the Jolly Roger show was that most of the listening audience was not kids. Most of the listening audience were seniors and older folks in town who actually got to have a perspective of what was going on with the youth in their town, where there aren't a lot of other places to interface with the youth of the town unless you have a youth coming over to your house.
Yeah.
So the idea...
The youth.
The youth.
Any youth.
Any youth. What was the youngest DJ you had on the Jolly Roger?
That would be Ruby.
Ruby, and
Ruby the rock star, and she was 4.
She was 4 years old and held it down for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we know that there's voices out there that are not being heard in people who are not old enough to do these things for themselves. So we are setting the studio up not only for our work, but for anybody from the community to be able to come in and create content without having to go through the year-long hassle that we went through to make this happen. And I want to, again, thank everybody who has helped us.
We were writing names up there
all
earlier.
the names of the people who helped us with their donations and support.
It's
knowledge.
something that I can put on the screen that I'm going to start putting on the screen once I get my widgets configured is
sustaining donors.
A ticker box.
Yeah.
Where I can start thanking, like a
All
little
the
running
folks.
ticker tape across the bottom where I can like thank everybody.
Right. Including Sassafras.
Forever. Over and over again.
Yes.
Yes.
Because your support to help us do this has been really heartening, especially after being treated so badly by the local radio station that I helped create.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to being able to turn on the microphone, not only for ourselves, but for you as well.
And move into a new story.
Moving into a new story. Although we are going to,
We're ongoingly attempting to hold the KBMF board president and station manager accountable for their corruption because we care about that institution. And they said that they were going to be a social justice and education radio station focused on workers' rights in Butte. And they took money from people in the community on that premise, and they're not doing it anymore.
Well,
so
they're not only not doing it, they're
doing the opposite of it.
They terminated 2 people from the radio station that were working hard to provide content in line with the mission of the organization.
Yeah.
So we are not done with that story yet.
Got to get up on your mic, baby.
Yeah, we want to, as a person that was a founding member of KBMF and the Butte America Foundation, I am not walking away from the organization because corruption has
kicked you out.
Has kicked me out.
Yeah.
That would be, in my opinion, that would be incorrect and irresponsible.
It would
of me.
almost be as if you didn't care that you invested so much time and effort. I guess I don't really care about social justice and education.
No, I care about those things, and so we're going to be continuing our campaign to make sure that the corruption within the organization is addressed, and the people who are responsible for that corruption step down so that we can actually have more of a democratic process within the local organization. It started off with having a meeting every year where all the members that supported the radio station and supported the nonprofit got to nominate the people that they wanted in charge of it, and they've changed that. You, as a member of the Butte America Foundation, cannot just nominate somebody.
You can no longer influence who is on the board of the Butte America Foundation.
Right.
New membership on the board of the Butte America Foundation, which has a very heavy-handed influence over what happens at KBMF, is determined by the membership committee, the nominating committee.
Which are people who are on the board.
So the nominating committee picks people that they think should be on the board. And the people in the nominating committee are people who are on the board, including the board president, which is excessively nepotistic and incestuous because that means
you're not going to get rid of the board president.
No one can join the board that the board president does not want involved. So if it were to come to light, for instance, that the board president was using their power to enact personal vendettas, there would be...
Just in case something like that were to happen.
In case that were to happen, there would be no way for the membership, the paying and volunteering membership of the Butte America Foundation or KBMF to take her out of her position.
So just to keep people in the loop who have not kept up to date with what's been going on, we've been trying to hold the organization responsible for their actions, which were in violation of the bylaws of the organization. Our last letter, which is trying to give them an opportunity to correct the wrongdoing that they did to us as members of the organization,
setting
and
dangerous precedents.
Very dangerous
for anybody
precedents.
else the board president might not like.
In our last letter, we were trying to give them another opportunity to come clean and to resolve the issue that they created, and they told us to not, that in their idea that what we were asking for is within the rules of the Butte America Foundation, you can obtain the membership list to send information to the membership
if you're worried about something.
If you're worried about something in the organization.
Yeah.
So we asked for the membership list, and we 15 pages of detailed information about the conspiracy to have content limited without a board meeting, without a quorum, without a discussion,
without a vote,
the censorship and gag order by the station manager, and the board, all the members of the board, who were sort of wrangled into supporting the station manager without ever admitting that what they were doing was supporting censorship and the gag order. So they denied us that list. So basically what has happened is they've denied members the ability to communicate our concerns over the corruption of the organization to the rest of the members of the organization, which is, in my opinion, and I think very plainly seen as a betrayal of public trust. This is a public 501c3. It is nonprofit because it is supposed to serve the interest of the population and the members of the organization. And the corrupt people in the organization are denying the membership the right to understand what has happened within the organization per the bylaws.
Yeah.
So
you don't get to know. You don't get to know. You may have donated money to them. You may have donated hours of your time, your goods, your labor, your heartfelt well wishes for a meaningful organization in your community, but you don't get to know if they don't want you to know.
So I'm concerned about the lack of transparency in an organization that was supposed to be about that their mission, stated mission, is workers' rights, education, and social justice. And I'm concerned that they are only using those things as a premise to have a radio station and are not serving those tenets. So we're not done with that story yet, even though they are done with us. And we will continue to bring updates here on this show until that story is resolved and integrity is restored to the organization.
Many people that we know and love, who know and love KBMF, have just told us privately that they're just not going to donate anymore. And that's not what we want.
No, we want that station to be supported.
We want it to be healthy and supported and do what it said it was going to do.
There's enough money around to support what we're doing and to support the community radio station.
Yeah.
There's my concern is that the public trust is being abused by the board president by not allowing the membership to understand what has happened to the organization that they helped build.
Most people we talk to just think that we must have broken some rule, and that's why we got kicked out. Because if we got kicked out having not broken any rules, then
what does that mean? Yeah, to be clear, we did not break any rule. We did not break any agreement. We did not break any law. We were willing to work with the station manager to mitigate some of the material that we were doing to make everybody more comfortable. They never gave us that opportunity and instead used autocratic and heavy-handed tactics to censor us and gag order us. And what's most disturbing to me is the board president and the station manager are using this strange Orwellian tack of saying,
it's not censorship.
It's not censorship.
Let's just read the definition
telling
of
you
censorship.
to not say anything on a certain subject and then telling you that you cannot tell your listening audience
that we told you not
to say that is not censorship.
Definitely not censorship. All right, censorship. The suppression or prohibition of any part of books, film, news, etc., that is considered to be obscene, politically incorrect, or a threat to security.
So I think they might fall into the we were politically incorrect.
Or threat
according
to security.
To their
story
politics.
was that us discussing whether lockdowns have done more good than harm, or discussing how mask wearing has become a political issue rather than a scientific issue, or discussing how maybe Democrats in general were really kind of shameful and rude to Republicans in general. To them, that's a security issue.
Is that security?
Yeah, I would say probably a threat to security. That's what they said, is that somebody who's not very smart might hear our content and think that we're saying you shouldn't wear masks or be safe.
Which we never said
We
that.
never said and we're never saying. And they also made really horrible claims. God, such lies. That like we were never taking advice, we never brought input in from any other sources, and we never told the listening audience that these were our opinions that we were workshopping live on air, which is completely untrue. We were constantly telling people, look, this is an educational show. This is like an investigative show. We're trying to learn and share with you what we've learned. And if you think that we're learning something that's incorrect or dangerous, please share with us a different or better source. We were constantly saying that.
The reason we have this set up with the chat bot in the middle
is because we want you involved.
We want the audience to be able to fact check us. If you as an audience member have some information that we were unable to find, or that challenges our information, that might be able to have us refine our understanding of a certain topic, this is why Ainsley worked so hard to set up this program so we can be on multiple platforms to reach more people, to have more feedback, so that we can provide grassroots informed information and be checked live on the air, rather than saying something and then us finding out after the show that that was incorrect and then having to spend a week to come back and to correct the record. We can correct the record live with an interactive audience. That was the whole point of the show that we were doing on Post-Orthodoxy. So their claims that we were being dangerous is completely disingenuous, because our entire program was set up to make sure that we were in concert with our audience to source information so that we could all become
we understand we
better
don't know
educated.
everything.
Yes.
And we're specifically doing this kind of content to educate ourselves and to bring in experts who can help educate us, and then to share what we're learning with people who can share what they're learning back with us. Thank you, the internet.
Yes, thank you, the internet. So we're happy for anybody who might who's watching the show, this test run right now. And
shout out to Green Days in Florida.
Oh, geez, he's back.
Hey,
we're back. Yes.
And we streamed long enough to pick somebody up on Twitch.
Right on.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing this show at least once a week.
Oh,
there will be other shows.
But that's only
in
the
between.
beginning, man. We've got a lot of ideas. And if you're listening to this and you hear our idea, it's copyright us.
Yeah, we just copyrighted it by broadcasting live.
Yeah, that's right. We broadcasted it first. So
we're excited to be able to we've gotten through the slog of plugging all the wires in and understanding all the stuff. You still have work to do, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing to
can make it prettier
provide
now.
this experience. And next time we come on, we will have a little more a nicer aesthetic behind us.
I mean, we might not actually have a nicer aesthetic behind us next time, because painting a room is a lot of work.
I can just add a plant.
Yeah. We just put a plant right
We'll
here.
put a big old plant.
Aesthetic.
Now we have aesthetic.
Done.
Living things. And then we have to take them out of the room because this is like a dark box that doesn't let anything live.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah. It's
Or
okay.
we could replace these weird lights up above us with like
grow lights.
grow lights.
Yeah.
Plant lights.
Sure.
Is it illegal for us to broadcast online with marijuana plants in the background?
I don't know if that
It's
would
legal
be...
for us to have a marijuana plant.
I don't know if it... I think there might be some...
Green Day says, I've got some aesthetic plants for
Yeah.
you.
I think, at least in the state of Montana, they did a few years ago make everybody remove the pot leaf from their dispensary pages. So you can't have an image of a pot leaf because that's because of the children, I guess.
Is that going to change now?
I don't know.
Now that you can legally have some marijuana in your possession?
Yeah, so I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about broadcasting those plants.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll ask Google.
So we are looking for... This is the other thing that I want to put a shout out
get on the other
to.
side of your microphone.
This is another thing that we are really excited about, having the ability to have guests zoom in from anywhere on the planet. That allows us to access people with levels of research and expertise beyond our broad ranging around topics.
Who
and be
are
able
some
to,
people that you're thinking of
I'm really excited
having
about
join us on our various shows?
I'm very excited to have Joseph Myers come in. We worked with him. He works in the film industry here in town. He's also an author and a screenwriter. And he has a theory.
And really nice.
And a really nice guy. Very articulate. A pleasure to watch speak and listen to speak. He has a theory that I'm really interested in. He started telling me, and I said, "Don't tell me.
Don't tell me. Tell me on air."
Tell me on air. I want to experience it live.
6 months later.
6 months later. So he has this.
The good news is we can never get him to come visit us in Butte, but now we can nab him through Zoom.
So I'm really excited about having Joseph on. The topic, the phrase that he used that has been oscillating in my head ever since is the term, the amygdala hijack.
Oh, I was thinking adrenal fatigue, but that's a different thing.
No, the amygdala hijack. So we have done a lot of work on our show to talk about trauma and cult-like behavior. And especially when it has been, it led to us being kicked off of KBMF, which
Is the
is
amygdala hijacking.
a lot of political trauma. So many people were heavily traumatized by our political narrative, the nation's political narrative, over the last 4 or 5 years or so. And from what I understand about the idea of the amygdala hijack, is that when you have experienced trauma or you're living in a trauma response, it cuts your ability to actually be making informed decisions because you're in a fight or flight mode and not able to actually carefully consider information, and you become a reactive individual instead of an active individual, which makes for good cults.
Right.
As long as you are reacting to the story, then you are playing along with the narrative. If you're acting in the story, you get to be a part of creating
and
a narrative.
choose how you behave rather than behaving out of fear from your past.
So I'm excited to have Joseph on. We are currently looking for people who have expertise in various fields. I have a friend of mine in Northern California who is at the forefront of the UFO disclosure movement, which, whatever you feel about that, it's an interesting story. That's the way I always look at these things.
It's an ongoing story for some reason.
It's not going away. The story's not going away.
Many of your neighbors think about aliens all the time.
I don't have a strong opinion on whether
I wouldn't mind if they were real.
UFOs are physical things, or if these are mental things, or if we are living in a Matrix-like simulation. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to have some people who are a part of the UFO disclosure movement come in and tell us what's going on in that circle of the world.
And maybe more than just one time, because these are ongoing, evolving conversations that people are having and that are very important to a lot of people. And just pretending that they don't exist doesn't take them out of your neighborhood.
Right. We're really excited to, we are looking for some regular guest contributors. Right now, Ainsley and I are contributors to the Know Thyself radio program on KTUH in Honolulu, Hawaii. Honolulu, Hawaii.
Honolulu.
So we do a half hour on that E-Omni's radio show, Montana time, 2:30 to 3. And we're looking forward to having E-Omni on our show. He's a gentleman that holds 3 different degrees in philosophy.
Yeah, that's a smart person that we should talk to.
Right. So we want to have philosophical discussions, scientific discussions, political discussions,
religious discussions
from the perspective that's past the partisan binary limit.
We have some LGBTQ plus heroes living here in Butte, and they were gracious enough to participate in our radio show on KBMF, where we were very limited in the things that we could talk about because of needing to abide by FCC law and not do anything that might be considered traumatizing or overly sexual or whatever is going on. But now that we have our own platform, as long as we're not offending Facebook in some kind of way, we can have long form conversations about the battles that people in the LGBTQ plus community have struggled through. And be more honest and real, and then have audience members come in and ask questions of these people in a respectful and open dialogue that hopefully, for a lot of people, much like the civil rights movement or even, heck, the women's rights movement, for many people, feminism is a daily conversation. Being a member of the LGBTQ plus community is a daily conversation. Being a minority in America is a daily part of your life. And these people are much better versed in these struggles, much better versed in that experience than someone like me, who's generally like cis het presenting female, random middle class norm McNormington person. And so to be able to have someone who's a member of these various communities that have experienced strife in the U.S. over the last century and who have worked really hard to mitigate that strife for others, come on and talk with people about that experience in an educational way. There are so many people in the U.S. who are they're not overtly racist, but they have racist mindsets and may even say or do racist things because they've never experienced somebody of color. They've never been around somebody of color. They've never had a BIPOC friend. They've never gone to an Asian market regularly for their groceries. And so they don't even realize that what they're doing is being like benignly racist. And of course, there is malignant racism in the US all over the place, but benign racism is a matter of exposure. And so to be able to use the internet to bring people on board who are willing to have this conversation, to bring these struggles and these ostracized or minority groups to light in the quote unquote white mainstream, I think can only help us get along better as a country.
Right. This is why I'm really excited to be able to incorporate Mokai Malope into our show from South Africa. Mokai, if you're not familiar with Mokai Malope, he grew up in post-apartheid South Africa in a generation that did not experience apartheid. And they're children of a generation that got the worst of it. And there's trauma in that older generation that the younger generation doesn't understand. So being able to have somebody from that mindset come to this country and help us have a perspective on the struggles that we're dealing with here from an alien perspective, and be able to then also switch to a Zoom screen to our resident recurring guest who is in the psychotherapeutic field to talk about trauma, to talk about generational trauma, historical trauma, but also situational trauma.
Went through it, but I didn't. So we need to learn to be gracious to each other about the things that you went through, but I didn't.
Right.
We're always living in parallel realities with each other. I love that concept that you brought up. We have this thing going on in Butte. I mean, and all over the place, honestly. Well, so Butte recently lifted the mask mandate on businesses. So businesses can now choose whether they would like you to wear a mask when you go in or not, which is causing a lot of friction and weirdness. People are coming up to random strangers in the grocery store and saying, you know, you don't have to wear that anymore. Like...
Right. You don't know if that person has a medical condition where they are at more risk than you are.
Yeah.
There's assumptions there.
And it's so interesting, but like you have people who are living in a world where maybe they trust what the CDC is saying about lockdowns and masks. Maybe they trust what the local health department is saying about lockdowns and masks. And then you have people that don't know who to trust, and they're just locked into a habit from the last year of trauma. And all of these people are walking around in the world together, but they all have different beliefs about what is safe.
So this is why we're doing this show, is to be able to have the discussions that I can't find anywhere else. I want to have these conversations. And so thank you, supporters of the show, who've provided us with the support to get the equipment to have these conversations. I want to be smarter. I want to be better educated. I want to understand what's happening in the world. There seems to be this trend towards you can't know what's happening in the world. We have more access to information than we've ever had.
You just either have to trust someone or you don't get to know.
I have a feeling that we might actually be able to understand what's going on more than we actually do.
Yeah.
If the root of that understanding is understanding and not tribal building.
If you're engaging in scientific inquiry in any area of your life, then you are seeking to find out whether the data that is present in the universe actually supports what you think might be going on, rather than only looking for data that supports what you think might be going on.
Right. This is the big inspiration for the show. I want to get past partisanship. I'd like to be... there's a website called hiddentribes.us, which is a big inspiration for the work that I do, for the focus that I focus on, which is we often listen to the news say that we are a divided country, and half the country believes this, and the other half of the country believes that.
Half of the country is racist.
But what the Hidden Tribes has shown is that the narrative of that we're calling half the country is actually a very, very small vocal minority, and that the vast majority of the people in this country, 67%, are being called the exhausted majority, which are people who do have nuance, who are tired of the partisanship, who are tired of the bickering, who thinks that we can actually get along.
We could actually all get along even if we don't all agree.
But they don't, that 67% is not being represented in the mainstream news, because the mainstream news model is, as Matt Taibbi called in his book Hate Inc., is the format of mainstream news is designed to stoke division to sell products. Everybody likes a train wreck. And the news has become an ongoing train wreck that we can't pull ourselves away from. And yet the people who are watching this train wreck are not the train wreck. Most of them are this 67% of Americans who actually would like to have a more nuanced conversation.
They really think we could probably get along.
Who can think outside of their political party, their religious affiliation, their racial identity, their sexual identity. There are people who are nuanced in the world. That is the majority of the people in this country, and they don't have a voice. So this is part of the inspiration for doing this show, Post-Orthodoxy, is to actually talk to the vast majority of people who are not being talked to. They're being led along with a carrot of drama, but they're not actually addressing the issues that affect the majority of the country, which is our education, our healthcare, our infrastructure, the things that people worry about for their children. So we're excited to be back. This is I think we're saying more things than I anticipated in the test run.
I love this, though. This is good. It's not just us bitching about getting kicked out of KBMF wrongfully again.
Right.
And it's not just us talking about how hard it is to set up all of this software again. Like, we're actually kind of prequeling what we're going to be talking about, which is exciting, and getting people involved. I really want to get people involved.
Yep.
Green Days says there are groups on Facebook to help you find places in Florida to get vaccinated, even if you're not actually eligible. A friend got her shot at a location that had over 100 leftover doses and said she just had to tell them that she had asthma, but never had to show any proof or paperwork. So Florida is having like a vaccine, not what's the opposite of a food desert. Florida has way more vaccines than there are people who want them in Florida, based around largely its politics and the mindsets and education of the things that the people in Florida have been hearing about the vaccines. And so I'm like, should Florida just like send them, put them on a vaccine train and send them to...
Right. I was called by a local friend last week who offered the same thing. He asked if we were going to get...
If you would like to...
If we would like to get vaccinated, that we could sort of
up.
squeak into these things. And I told him that there are people who are at higher risk than I am, so I'm not...
Which was not this person's intention at all.
Right.
It was not this person's intention to jump us ahead in line at all.
There are doses that are left over that need to be used.
Yeah.
So... I'm glad that the people who are most
Which I guess
anxious...
is us admitting something about ourselves that we had a chance to get vaccinated and didn't jump on it.
Well, I think there's more people. You had COVID. I had COVID. I don't feel like I'm immediately at risk. I also would like to do some... This is part of what we're doing on this program, is I want to do some research. And I know that we must not do our own research, that plebes like us that don't have a title or a strongly held conviction cannot do research. I disagree with this.
I disagree.
You
can learn, and
there are
you can
journals,
teach yourself. You can teach yourself badly.
Yes.
But you can also teach yourself goodly.
So we are working through these ideas that you can't research, you can't know, you just must trust, you must believe the science,
or be scared.
Which is one of the most crazy-making phrases that have come out of the pandemic. Science is not to be believed. Science is an evolving discipline and story, and the science of today...
Science is a question.
...will not be the science of tomorrow. Science does not have to be believed. Science, it can be looked at, and there are... there is science that will withstand scrutiny, and there is science that is experimental. And we are right now...
And fringe.
The post-Orthodox science, that is a thing. Science has always been moved ahead by post-Orthodox science.
Yeah.
It is a science that says, we've been doing this for a while.
Maybe the sun doesn't rotate around us.
There's a better way.
Screw you!
Right. So we're interested in post-Orthodoxy being able to unashamedly venture into the borderlands of the unorthodox to see if we might be able to bring something back to the tribe that might move the story forward, that might advance the science further, that might make people feel more relieved that they actually can know something dubious sources
Right.
that have commercial
I
interests.
think it's, I mean, like a general, like we all take our phones to the bathroom, admit it. So like something that you could do while you were in the bathroom with your phone is like look up the definitions of belief, trust, science.
So
To know something. What's the definition of to know something?
I said Carrot of Drama, and Green Day said Carrot of Drama is my band name, and the debut album is where'd it go? The debut album is Abundance of Caution.
It's so good to be back. I love it. We're going to have to start keeping a rolling list of all the band names that come out of, I'm going to put that in our document right now. Workflow for Post-Orthodox. List of band names.
And have you found some way to, like a prize bell or an alarm that goes off every time somebody comments that, am I your dad?
Is that your dad?
Is that your dad over there?
So I have this really beautiful thing over here that has all these buttons on it. And all of these buttons can each be keyed to a really cool sound. So I can push the button and it will go bum ba da da.
You could do a rim shot.
Ba-dum-ts.
Audience applause.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Ooh.
Yeah,
Like that sort of thing.
The audience reactions. Yeah, we can yes, we can do that.
Watermelon. Yeah, All right, Carrot of Drama, first album, Abundance of Caution. Yes, that's exciting. This is for our highlight reel for our next show.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like Green Days was pulling a band name out of every single episode last year.
That's right. That should just be an ongoing list. So Green Days, we would like you to be a regular contributor of band names that accidentally come out of our discussions.
And maybe other things in the future.
We need a shrink that isn't offended at being called a shrink.
Yep.
We would like to have various people from various disciplines that would like to have an opportunity to share their research and their insights with a larger audience and help us build our audience for those insights to be shared too. So
Dorothy Butler Owen says, I'm just looking up the next crossword clue. Damn it. So she's trying to follow along. We're going too fast.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, Dorothy. I had this thought in my mind that I would take the dogs for a WALK before my evening.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thanks for...
This was really fun, and
All
I
right.
immediately want to do another one right now.
Yes, we have the gear up and running. We can come down and plug it in and dress the set.
Yeah.
Improve... be able to take the capabilities that we have and develop them as we go. But
Add
right
more
now,
widgets on the screen.
the bare bones is happy making for me. And thank you, everybody who's watching this and has helped support this endeavor. And do we have a time where we will do this on a regular basis yet? We haven't really set that yet.
I feel like we can definitely commit to 4 to 6 on Sundays right now for Post-Orthodoxy if we'd like to do an homage to the radio station that kicked us out.
Yes.
And just keep our regular slot where people were participating with us.
So tentatively, we will be doing this live Sundays 4 to 6.
And then we're going to have other content.
We'll have other content,
Other shows.
Mm-hmm. And if you are interested...
Another opening of another show.
If you're interested in...
I can sing better than that, I promise.
Utilizing this this new community resource, you can contact us in the comments and pitch us your idea.
If you would like to have a show,
if you would like to have a show,
I can produce it for you.
Yeah, we can do it. So
I can put your show on your platforms to your audience.
How about that?
How about that? Catch
All
me
right.
aside.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Ainsley, for all your hard work and diligence and research and hair pulling out of headness.
All the coffee and all the meditative music and like.
All right, we're really excited.
Yeah,
So
we love you guys. Thank you so much.
Onward and upward.
Okay, I'm going to click stop streaming here.
Please do.
Which is so exciting. I've been waiting years to do this.
Do it.
I don't have to get up and go to the camera to stop it.